Hey everybody, it's Angie. So I'm back today with the second part of my great foundation hunt. I've been on the hunt for a wintertime foundation because my skin feels so dry and I'm using, Retin A and vitamin C. And so I thought, well, let me try some liquid foundations and see how they go. I have already tested 5 of the high-end foundations. For the second round, which is the drugstore test, I couldn't believe some of the claims of the drugstore foundations that I looked at. So it kind of got me thinking, well, I am 50, so maybe instead of trying the standard foundations that other YouTube beauty gurus are suggesting, I should try the anti-aging ones and let you know how they work. I'm looking for something that doesn't make my skin look worse. And let me tell you, at the drugstore, it is not easy to come by. I'm starting to think that, at least in the liquid foundations, that you need to go more high-end. Now, the high-end winner was $36 for an ounce. So it's twice the price, pretty much over twice the price of any of these. They were all about $14, $15. But I gotta say, to make your skin look better and not worse, it might be worth the money. Basically, I tried to find one anti-aging foundation from each drugstore brand and give it a test. Now, of course, each drugstore brand has like 2 or 3 different anti-aging foundations. So, if I didn't pick the one that you love, I'm sure you'll post a comment about it below. But just after trying these 7 and pretty much not being happy with any of them, I feel like I'm not going to look in the drugstore liquid foundation aisle anymore for me. If you have something you love, obviously, that's great. Everyone's skin is different. What everyone's trying to cover or conceal or, highlight is different. So, I'm not knocking it if you have one that you love. Now, the other thing is that I'm showing pictures of me wearing the foundations because I've done this over like a 2-week period. And I gotta say, from a distance, they all look fine. Since I'm really testing them, I'm testing for, how long they wear and if they sit in my pores and if they accentuate my wrinkles and how much light reflectiveness. And I'm looking at them really up close. And really up close, they all look awful. But in the photography, like in the other video that I did of the high-end ones, I noticed like the photography, it all looked fine. And people were probably like, what are you complaining about, lady? It looks fine. You look good in them all. But in real life, when your skin is moving and people look at you and they have that laser young vision and they can see everything, some of them really do look bad. And like I said, part of my testing was my teenage daughter test, which can be brutal at times, but I like to think that they're criticizing the makeup and not me. And also I did try to do a phone test where I would hold the phone up to my face and see how much makeup came off on it. Also, it all looks good on video too. So I just put the last one on. The first one is Revlon Age Defying DNA Advantage, and here's what the packaging looks like. It's an SPF 20 and it comes in 8 shades. Here's the consistency, and I'll rub it around. You can see what it looks like rubbed onto the back of my hand. When I tested most of these, they all had such big claims. I thought I could use a primer under, I could use powder over, but I don't necessarily want to have to buy 3 products when I buy a foundation. So I tested most of them as a standalone product. Granted, you would probably need a concealer for some things, but I wanted to see, how do they conceal? How do they glide over your pores? Do they do what they say they're going to do? So I think in only one case I used a primer, and I didn't use a setting powder for any of them. So now you know what the parameters were. All right, so for the Revlon Age Defying DNA Advantage, its claims actually aren't so bad. Revlon is not crazy with the claims. Combines makeup and powerful anti-aging skincare to help protect skin's DNA to fight the visible signs of aging. 96% of women saw flawless, younger-looking skin in 2 weeks. Good for them. I'm not going to use it for 2 weeks, so I don't know what it's going to do over time. Lines and wrinkles are visibly diminished while skin is refreshed, hydrated, revitalized. Contains vitamin B3, vitamin E, and West Indian cherry extract and humectants. All right, so I put this on a couple of hours ago, and I applied it with a stippling brush. All right, so I squeezed a full pump out onto the back of my hand, and then I just dotted that around my face, and then I used like a thick but flat stippling brush and, spread it all around, swirled it, and worked it in good. All right, so with one full pump, it had kind of a sheer coverage. So that I could still see a lot of my age spots and discolorations. So I put on another half a pump just to see if it was buildable and how it blended and if I could get better coverage that way. And it definitely gave better coverage with the pump and a half of product. It's a cream, not a liquid, so it's much thicker, excuse me, can't talk, much thicker than a lot of the other formulations that I tried. So I was surprised that it went on sheer still because it was so thick. But anyway, so it was buildable and it was not the easiest to blend because of the thickness of the formulation. It sank right into my pores, leaving sort of a spotted appearance in my 10x mirror, which, no one else is looking at me in my 10x mirror. But, if I come in super duper close, especially on this side maybe, well, how close do I have to be? Holy cow. I'll see if you can see that there's little like whitish spots there where it went into my pores. Okay, so this is a very light reflective formulation, so it can look a little greasy and it can accentuate your fine lines and wrinkles. Going on, it feels heavy like a moisturizer, so I like a foundation that goes on and feels like silky smooth and really nice. This feels like it felt sort of tacky and heavy going on, and I didn't really love that, and it stayed sort of tacky and heavy for a good 15-20 minutes because I put on the rest of my makeup and I straightened my hair a little bit, and then I went to put on my blush and bronzer, and it was still sort of tacky. And when I went to put those on, they didn't blend nicely with it. They kind of sat on the surface, so I feel like my blush is a little funky looking here today. So that's it, and it feels heavy on the skin. Oh, I'll have to call you back. Okay, so I'm doing the phone test. So here is what happened on my... Can you see that? That is all residue from this foundation on my phone. And when a few of them, when I went to wipe it off, it like wouldn't come off. It just smeared all over the place. This one, it actually wipes off pretty good, but it has left. I'm going to have to wash this with Windex now because it left stuff all over the phone, which I don't like. And my girls aren't home from school yet, so I don't get the teenage girl review of this one either. Sorry about that. All right, so the next one that I tried, now this is another Revlon product. This is not an anti-aging formulation. I tried this because so many gurus on YouTube love it and recommend it. So I thought, what the heck, let me see how it goes. So this is the Revlon Nearly Naked. Okay. All right, so this one comes in a glass bottle with an open top, which I really don't like very much. I don't know why they can't just put a pump on them, but all the Revlon foundations I find have kind of a funky smell, and I'm very sensitive to smell, so even the slightest odor in anything, I don't like it. The previous one, the Revlon DNA, a little bit of a chemically smell. Okay, so here is what the consistency of this one, and here's how it... And since this one is called Nearly Naked, it is very sheer. Okay. Now, Revlon Nearly Naked is $10 for 1 ounce. It comes in the glass bottle with no pump. It comes in SPF 20, and it comes in 16 shades. All right, this one's claims, since it's not anti-aging, are pretty basic. Refreshingly light, melts right in, blends seamlessly, buildable, no heavy, cakey, or greasy mess. All right, so on my 50-year-old skin, here is what I thought of it. So this one had medium coverage, it was buildable, light reflective, accentuates pores and wrinkles, made pore area look like orange peel. One of my pet peeves. Anything that makes this part of me look like orange peely skin, cannot stand. It was long wearing and had no phone transfer, and it controlled oil well. So, I think basically it's probably a good foundation because it's long wearing, it controls oil, and it has medium coverage. But if you're older, since it does accentuate pores and wrinkles, maybe not such a good choice. Okay, moving on. The next one is L'Oreal Visible Lift Serum Absolute. And that is what the packaging looks like. It comes in a pump dispenser, and it was $15 for 1 ounce. It's SPF 17, and it comes in 12 shades in 3 tones. So you kind of pick whether you're warm, cool, or I don't know, I think neutral toned or something, and then you pick a shade within that, which is kind of nice that it actually gives you a clue of where you should be in the shade range. So that's what it looks like right out of the bottle. And if I just smear, give it a smear, that's what it looks like. And if I spread it, there you go. All right, the claims are that it is an age-reversing serum of 5 ingredients in one luminous makeup. It instantly evens skin tone, doesn't settle into fine lines and wrinkles. In 4 weeks, transforms skin to smoother, firmer, brighter, even, flawless. My gosh, if it's going to reverse age, this would be one heck of a foundation. I would pay money for that if it was going to reverse my age. I did pay money for it, and it is going back to the store. This was one of the worst ones that I tried, like by far. Okay, my kids, oh my God, they were horrified. All right, so here's what I thought of it. It had light to medium coverage. It was buildable, but even with 2 coats, the unevenness still shows through. It spreads evenly and is easy to apply with your fingers. It's mildly scented. Just give it a smell. Blah. Yes, mildly scented. It's almost like a florally kind of scent, not chemically like the other one. So this one I could probably stand more than the Revlon. Dries to a nice satiny finish, which I like. Slightly light reflective, which I never like. Has the look of skin, which is good. All right, so far so good. What could be the problem? It went into pores, filling them in a spotty way. Oh, those darn pore spots again. You know, I have big pores. If you don't have big pores and this isn't a problem for you, these could be fine. But, you know, I have like enlarged pores like here on my forehead and down here on my chin and some over here. They're all over the place. And I try to do things for them, but, you know, like I say before, they're not like windows that open and close. They are what they are. So it went into the pores, filling them in a spotty way, and accentuated wrinkles badly. I put it on the back of my hand, and my side-by-side hand comparison, like I felt like the wrinkles on this hand were way worse than the wrinkles on this hand. I think you can see that there. But we also put it on the back of my 14-year-old's hand, and she has beautiful baby skin, and on the back of her hand it even made it like wrinkle up. So it's like it's causing wrinkles that aren't necessarily even there on your skin. All right, my children took one look at me and said, no, take it off. Like with everything else, it looks fine from a distance. With this one, the color changed after an hour, so it oxidized. It became very peachy and kind of orangey, which is not good. With the phone test, it stuck to the phone and left a slick of makeup. It did stay in place, though, with no oily breakthrough, which is nice, and it was long-wearing. It lasted over 8 hours. All right, the next one, Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Eraser Treatment Makeup. And here is the packaging on that one. There's the label, and it comes with this spongy applicator thingy-mabobber that... Oh, you're going to be shocked to hear this. I didn't like it. Maybe I'm just very hard to please. I don't think I liked anything. This was $12.99 for 1 ounce. It has this foam tip dispenser, and basically you twist it like this until you start seeing some product come up there. There it is. Okay, so that's what it looks like. And then when you put it on your skin, they highly recommend that you use this little guy, because this is what all their research and technology went into, and I feel like they should dump this and spend a little more time on the formulation. Now, I think I picked the wrong color. This one was too dark for me. What else was going to say? Came in SPF 18 and in 12 shades. So here it is on the back of my hand. It's very orangey. And when you put it on with the applicator, it comes out and it comes on very thick. So I would, you know, kind of do the applicator and then have to rub it in with my fingers or something. So I wasn't thrilled with the applicator, but here are their claims. Patented applicator microfills and smooths imperfections. Goji berry and collagen reduce appearance of fine lines and wrinkles. 7 years of research, 5 patents. Instantly erases fine lines. Okay, so were my fine lines instantly erased? Absolutely not. Were my pores instantly erased? Absolutely not. Maybe if you put it on, I don't know, even putting it on this thick, even the thickness didn't seem to help. Anyway, here's what I had to say about it. Ugh, really bad. I applied by dotting it around and then blending it with fingers because this thing, it just went on way too thick. The good things about it is that it feels really silky, although it's probably half silicone. So in a regular mirror, it seemed to be spreading and blending really smoothly. And the smell, it does have quite a scent that, you know, of course, I don't like because I don't like it. I don't like the smell of anything. I feel like I'm just a big complainer in this one. I hate everything. But anyway, so the smell was bad. But, so it felt like it was blending really smoothly because it's so silky smooth. But then when I looked at it in my 10x mirror, it was a mess. There were streaks everywhere. It wasn't blending well. It was laying thickly in my wrinkles and pores. So then I went on the website and looked at the claims and where it said that you were supposed to use the applicator, and that's a big patented deal that it's going to, you know, smooth out all my wrinkles and make everything perfect. Then I went back and I reapplied with the applicator. All right, to see if that helps. Well, it was even worse. The applicator leaves streaks, and basically to get there to be not so much on the applicator, it says like don't wet it, you know, and if anything, just wipe it off with a tissue. So I ended up like wiping half of the product off with a tissue, so you're wasting half of it, and then putting it on. Thick, thin, wiped off, fully on, it didn't matter. It went on streaky and was horrible, and the applicator made it streaky and horrible. So I was so surprised because of what they say about the applicator. Anyway, it was terrible looking. It accentuated every wrinkle and pore, and even created some that I don't really think I have. It looked matte at first, but within a half hour, it looked greasy, and my whole face looked like orange peel. You know, not just a little spot up here. And it has a light kind of perfumey scent. And that is all I had to say about that one. Again, the children did not like it. So then I thought I'll try the CoverGirl and Olay because, you know, I love the Olay products, especially the Regenerist line and the Total Effects line. For me, those are great serums and moisturizers. They have all the best ingredients, and they've really done their homework there. This is the CoverGirl and Olay Simply Ageless Foundation. It was $13.99, and it is 12 grams, so it's 0.4 ounces. So this is less than half an ounce. So this is twice as expensive as any of the other ones where you're paying, you know, $13 for an ounce. This is $14 for less than a half an ounce. So actually this is more along the pricing of, you know, a medium to high end, what am I trying to say? Foundation. Yes, the word that I'm using in this a million times. Okay, so the packaging on this is kind of funky. This is actually the bottom. Okay, which is nice because then this never gets all, you know, gloobered up. So the way it comes with like a little sponge applicator, okay, and then this twists open and you find the product in here, okay. So it's a cream compact. It comes in 15 shades and it has an SPF 22. Got some on the sponge and we'll just, so that is the swatch. And then let me just take a little bit more and blend it around with the little sponge. All right, and there it is smoothed over the surface of my hand. Can't even really see it at all. Claims on this one: stays suspended over fine lines and wrinkles, unlike the leading anti-aging department store foundation that can gather in wrinkles and make skin look older. Clinically shown to provide significant improvement in skin condition in just 4 weeks. In my test, you know, funny little upside down compact. I applied it using the sponge that came with it. It glides on really smoothly. It's medium to full coverage. It's very buildable and blendable. It has a slight scent, but not perfumey, but kind of chemically. It smells artificial or stale, I guess I would say. But I don't like any scent, so it might be a scent that you like. You know, I keep trying to make it not as bad, but God, these were awful. The finish is skin-like. Matte in the flats, so like, you know, matte here, and then with a slight light reflection on the edges. So, you know, when you would turn, it would be like reflect a little light, reflect a little light, you know, reflect a little light. So very skin-like, I thought, which was good. So that's why I say at first I had really high hopes for this one. It felt really good going on and everything, and I thought it looked quite good at first. But 2 hours later, it had migrated into every crack and every pore on my face, and it looked obvious and awful. Now, it may be because I went to the dentist that morning and I was, my mouth hanging open, but like down here on my chin especially, it was like a cracked mess down there. But you should be able to go to the dentist with your makeup on and not be walking around afterwards with this like huge settling in the cracks lines of makeup. I mean, it was hideous. I couldn't believe it. So it didn't stay in place at all. I touched it up after the dentist because I couldn't walk around like that all day, so I got a little sponge and rubbed it in and, made it look nice and blended it again, but it still looked pretty bad, sad to say. It was fairly long wearing because it was still on invisible after about 10 hours, but that doesn't mean it looked any better. It seemed to suck the moisture out of my skin. Oh my God, I can't believe I wrote this stuff. I was hating on these so badly, I can't even tell you. It's strange since it's got the Olay serum in it, which I love and use every day in the morning. I love the Olay Regenerist serum, and I think that's what it's got in it. And this was just awful, and it seemed to just suck the moisture out of my skin. So anyway, it stuck to and highlighted dry spots. The phone test, it was gross. The residue would not wipe off the phone. So I guess that attests to its long weariness, but it also is long wearing on the glass of your phone. And the daughters again said, go wash your face. So another epic fail. All right, the only one I tried with a primer was Almay Smart Shade. All right, there's what it looks like. This is $14.79 for a 1 ounce squeezy tube. Comes in an SPF 20, and it only comes in 3 shades. Now, what this one does is it comes out white, and then it changes color on your skin. Oh, hold on, I have to see. Doesn't this look nice? That is the CoverGirl one on there right now. I'm like, wow, that looks really nice. But believe me, in a little while, it's going to look awful. If you're only going to wear it for a half an hour, great, then go for it. But I think most people like their makeup to last a little longer than that. All right. So now the Almay comes out white. Get it to focus here. Okay. And then as you rub it in, it changes color, and it's supposed to magically sort of match your skin tone. And I am no scientist, so I don't know how it works, but it was pretty cool, and the daughters were like, ooh, wow, that is neat. All right, let's give that a minute to match up. Now with this one, I love the look of the primer, so I bought it, and it was buy one product, get the other one half off, so the primer was half price. And I didn't write down how much this was, but it was probably $6 since it was half price. But is that not the most beautiful packaging? And the product is actually purple and green, and it comes out, like a side-by-side squeeze of little purple and green, and that is supposed to correct the color variations in your skin. So the green is supposed to combat the red, and the purple is supposed to combat the yellow, I think. All right, so let's see. Now this has changed color, and there is how that looks. Okay, so this one claims, Smart Skin Sensing Formula instantly minimizes the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles. I also use the primer, which claims to correct color and smooth skin. And even with these two together, it wasn't horrible. It wasn't great either. Okay, so I applied this like a moisturizer because it comes out white. I squeezed it on my fingertips, rubbed it on my face. But you have to be sure to rub it in so you don't leave any white patches. It goes on smooth, and it feels like a heavy moisturizer. Changes from white to skin tone. Very sheer coverage. It was almost, not even as much coverage as a tinted moisturizer. Slightly light reflective finish that shows pores and wrinkles, has a dryish looking finish showing whitish at the edges. So like around my hairline where you couldn't really rub it in thoroughly to your skin, it kept sort of the whiteness from before it changes color. So it was white there, and like around here it was kind of white, and if you didn't like rub it in really thoroughly down here, it kind of left a little bit of a whitish cast to it, and kind of funky. Probably works better on, as usual, young, dewy skin, but that's not who they're marketing it to. They're marketing it to old ladies, so it should make old lady skin look better. So I said that. It looked shiny after 4 hours. The daughter said it looked okay. On the phone test, it sticks to the phone and leaves residue on the phone, and it has a slight smell. Very slight smell, very very flowery. This isn't a bad smell. I could wear this. It didn't bother me when it was on my face. All right, coming down to it here. The winner and champion, but not by a long shot. And, you know, I probably would not repurchase this. All right, the last one, and one that I liked the best, was the Neutrogena Healthy Skin. There you go. Liquid makeup. It's $12 for 1 ounce. Comes in a glass bottle with no pump, which I don't like. SPF 20 and comes in 12 shades. All right. Oh my God. Guess I should have known that was going to happen. All right, and this I bought. Way too dark for me. What was I thinking? So as you can see, it's quite runny, and it comes running right out of the bottle. Okay, now let me rub that around for you. Okay, there it is on the back of my hand. All right, now this one claims, since it's not an anti-aging formulation, it just has normal claims like a normal makeup. And that's actually kind of what I like about Neutrogena. They don't really make an anti-aging one, and they don't have any outrageous claims. So here are their claims. It takes over where your skincare leaves off. It's a silky light coverage, works to visibly improve skin's luminosity, tone, and texture, and it contains antioxidants. So I guess to get those results, you would have to use it for a number of weeks. And as you know, not using any of these for a number of weeks. All right, so in my test, it gave light to medium coverage, and it was blendable. It fills pores well, so I didn't have any orange peel looking skin with this, which is good. It felt a little dry, and I felt that it kind of accentuated fine lines, which is a bummer, but at least my pores looked okay. It was long wearing, and I had very little oil show through. So that's the best thing that I can say about the best of this bunch, all right, is that it was long wearing and didn't have oil show through, and that it covered my pores and my orange peel skin, but it did kind of accentuate my wrinkles. But you know what? What can we expect? I mean, wrinkles, I don't think there's anything that doesn't make them look worse in the drugstore. Maybe some powders. All right, so so that's it. The drugstore liquid cream anti-aging foundations for me were so much an epic fail that I can't even really believe it. I cannot believe that there wasn't one decent product in the drugstore. And I tried 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and had a 9th ready to try. That's a lot of trying. I mean, mainly you want to look at an advertisement, walk in there, buy it, and be happy with it. So trying this many and having so many of them be so bad, it was really quite an eye-opener for me. So anyway, that is it for today. And I hope this was helpful, and I hope I wasn't too overly negative. You know, I feel like I hated everything, and I really don't want to be like I hated everything. I think things had some good points and some bad points, and if, you know, maybe my expectations are too high. Maybe I'm expecting it to do wonderful things for my aging skin that it just can't. But then it shouldn't claim to either, you know? So, okay, that's it for today. Thanks for watching, and take care. Bye-bye. I am going to do some powder reviews in the next section, a mix of high-end and drugstore, and I have high hopes for the powders. I am so hoping that a tinted moisturizer with a powder from the drugstore will work great. These liquids did not cut it for me.